sending this short clips of recording. Just let people know, what's happening here in India in general, and in particularly in the monastery, Sera Monastery, and also monasteries which I have some form of connections, and also particularly my my life relation to this currently ongoing coronavirus 19. Because I'm doing this for two reasons. The first, there are people sending me emails asking what is happening with my life's relation to this this virus, and also people send some emails saying it would be good to have few Dharma suggestions how people should face or deal with this this illness. So for those two reasons, I am recording this, and I'm and sending this to you. Not every day, but hopefully every 2-3 days, like a more update, and have a little bit Dharma suggestions along that updating. So of course, we all know this virus started sometime in December. Recognized as it is, the serious virus sometime in December. And it started from China, then spread all over the world. Now it seems, and many people lost their lives, and many people are in hospitals, and many people are very, they're going through very difficult times because of this this illness. And for example, when we heard this illness started sometime, in December, in Sera, that time we were holding the annual winter debating session. That is not the the Jangkunju, which is famous one, but relatively new one. So there were about 600 to 700 monks from Sera, Ganden, Debong, Tashilambo were here. So we did, according to His Holiness Dalai Lama's, the advice, we did a few evenings prayer for the in general, for the well-beings of them, all the people, and particularly people who are suffering in China. So that is how we and I start to know this virus. Though that time, I felt sad to know the illness, this serious illness is taking place in China, and I did some prayers. Now, after 3 or 4 months, now it is not somewhere in China, it is at the doorstep. And so, now it is very real, it is very serious, and it is in our doorstep. So I think we start 4th of March. 4th of March, while we are Seragan and Devon, while we are in, after the Tibetan New Year, Great Prayer Day, and those 8 or 9 days Great Prayer Day, and then the illness, this illness is starting to spread in Europe and having all those the sad images and reading news. And we abbots of the Sera Ganden Debung, we had the internet, online discussion, and we reduced some of those, the Merlam, Great Merlam's activities. For example, the moon day, full moon day, 15th of the first month of full moon day, that is called Jongachapa, that is the 15th day of Great Offering. Usually, the local Tibetan people will come in the evening in front of to view the offerings, and they have lots of dancings and all together. So we cancel those, and also some other activities. But still, we were preparing for the new academic year study program. And although during the Great Prayer Day, I wasn't in Sera, I was in my parents' house doing a short retreat. I didn't join this year's Great Prayer Day because although I'm one of the abbots, all the abbots, some abbots has to take some roles, but not all. So I don't need to take that big roles. So instead of joining the Great Prayers, I went on the retreat. And so during the retreat, I was called back to the monastery. So we had this serious meeting. So that is the 4th of March. We start to plan, how we are going to, separate the monks who are coming back after the Great Prayer Day, coming back from the holidays, meeting families. And that was our first strategy, planning and meetings. But it wasn't that much serious in terms of in the feeling level, or although so many sad things are happening in Europe. So that is, and we did our best to plan things and so forth. And then, we disseminate some statements to the monks and how important to not to go to those big cities, but not really as a rules. We didn't do that, and because we were warned by the local Tibetan authorities, if we do, if we make big, what you call the sort of things, the Indian authorities may alarm. They want to keep this very much as low key as possible, and so we follow those advice and so forth. And so until sort of recently in the sense, 14th of March, we kept all those things relatively quiet. But then, we have to start our schools. What happened was on 13th of March, Indian state government, that is the Karnataka State where we are, and they said they are going to introduce a sort of rules. Schools should be closed and shopping malls should be closed just for a week. That was their first. And we because the state government did that, then we follow our sort of, abbots have discussions. We want as much as we can, all the monasteries, at least the Giluk monasteries, have the similar rules, not a very big difference, because although we live, Ganden Dibung live far away from us, but in the same state in Karnataka. So we had, with the abbots, we had discussions, meetings. So, and that time, so Serame, as we decided, and also some of the other monasteries, so we decided to follow closely to the state government's rule. So we say, okay, from 14, we will not have at least a week. All the schools will not recall, because school should be reopening on the 18th of March. So we sent that statement to the school teachers and the students. They are in the monastery. Students saying the 18th of March we will not start the school, and from 14th for 1 week we will not have schools and debating sessions and everything. And that is how it started. And so then we take very serious actions. The monks who are coming back from the different part of the India, or coming from some from America or from other Europes or Vietnams and so forth, we set separate, like a, not really quarantine, but not to meet with the other monks for 14 days. That, what the WHO they are sort of advising that. So that's how we did it. But it is like our fund is very much a little bit. We have this. We bought our health clinic bought to look at the temperature, and I went to see how they're doing. I thought, it's just checking temperature. If I walk to the clinic with a hot like a very sunny, my temperature might be over 40. So that's how it happened. But we did those rituals, and we're still doing those rituals. And but in reality, we really truly don't know. But one good thing what we have done is we separated those monks for 14 days, and we gave them very serious warning if you do that. And so that's how it happened. And then on 19th, on 19th, along that with all the other abbots, we were really having lots of discussions, online discussions, for how long we are going to do this. And because if we don't have the debating sessions, that is really something, the main. But then we can't have debating sessions. That means 600, 700 monks gathering and spitting on each other because you are debating, shouting, and so it won't work. And so all those things. And on 19th of March, we got another statement from the central government of India and also state government saying now it is spreading in disease is spreading in India. And so at the same time, the Tibetan administration in Dharamsala, they sent us a statement saying all these gatherings should be stopped for a month. So now a week close moved to a month close, and keeping nearly 6,000 monks in this very small place, and the lockdown is not easy at all. And that's what we are doing now. And so so many events or activities have taken place, and many of them are hopefully useful, but just really following what they are saying. But anyway, that's how it is. Now the serious thing is this. When I look at because I follow the BBC written news almost every day these days. I read it twice or sometimes 3 times a week, 3 times a day. And so yes, so many sufferings are taking place particularly in Europe, and now it's spreading to USA and other parts of the world. And some of those, what's happening in the developed country, so-called developed country, and struggling not just the leaders what to do, but also the actual nurses and doctors and have all those, facilities in the hospital. And when I saw all those things around the 20th, then I found, wow, now what is going to happen? Not when, no, not if, when this disease comes to here. Nothing. So that is the still big worry for us, because Indian government, the state government, just on 23rd sent us another statement saying now the disease is spread not just India but also in Karnataka State where we are, and it's spread in quite widely, and there are 9 districts will go into lockdown, and so they are giving us a little bit, saying there are 150 beds in Mysore state government's hospital, 150 beds in several millions people in this. So it is hopeless. So why I'm saying this is, we have to have some, of course we all have fears, worries and concerns, but also we should have, particularly people who are living in the West, to have a little bit some kind of sense of perspective, sort of compare what is happening in your places and what's happening in, like what I'm saying here, what's happening in India, and particularly in here. There's no any exaggeration, and these are the truth. And so yes, it is now in a very much in a serious and a very concerning or worrying time. But worrying, concerning alone will not help. Of course, it is human nature. It happens within myself. And for example, today I heard one of my best friends in UK, a Tibetan friend, many of you know who I'm talking about, an elderly man who lives not very far from Jamyang center, a young Tibetan, elderly Tibetan guy who passed away this morning. I got this news. And, due to this virus, he had underlying illness quite some time. And so I got a few days ago, one of his friends, close friends, sent me the information saying he is taken to hospital. He got the coronavirus. And now, this morning, early morning, here Indian time around 4, I got that sad news. So it is very sad. It is very serious. It is very, scaring. But we should have. We should try to bring some of our basic human good qualities. That is, to have a little bit calm and calmness within ourselves, and also to follow some of those instructions given by the authorities or given by those medical the people and so forth. And then on top of that, the people who have some spiritual the elements in their life, following teachings of the Buddha or teachings of the Jesus or any great those world religions, to use those the spiritual path to understand the situation, then bring some sense of what is the right word, bring some sense of normality within our lives, not to panic all the time, and then use, if you have, for example, people following the teachings of the Buddha, use some of those amazing, the teachings that Buddha has given, like the nature of impermanence. For example, I've been thinking quite a lot last few the weeks. This tiny virus really managed to cause huge disruptions in the world. It is not just the virus cause, but it is also shows the nature of our life, nature of the reality of our lives. It is very, we feel we are very strong, we feel very protected, and so on and so forth. In reality, it is very fragile. Like why I'm bringing that in, when we read, when we were taught, when we meditate on nature of impermanence in general, and particularly, the nature of our life, saying it is impermanent, and therefore that is definite. When it comes, it's indefinite. And it is very clearly stated when we think about it is indefinite, when it's going to come. One of the reasons is given, saying there are so many causes to lose our life. There are very little causes to keep our life to continue, and that is this tiny virus, managed to kill so many human lives in this world. That is the sign of those. So bring some sort of those teachings, and also, do some short meditations to calm down, to relax ourselves, and also, to bring some kind of lojong practice, taken and given. Although those practices may not take away our fears, worries immediately, but that will give us some kind of perspective, some kind of what you call the, so it will give us, so bring our human basic those positive human nature, like through following those protection, how to protect ourselves, then see what we can do to the others who really need our help. So those are the things, and I want to say. And now, as I mentioned, today is 24th, and on Sunday, which is 22nd, I think, and 22nd, central government, Indian central government introduced this curfew all over India, and we follow that from morning 7 to evening 9. And then now they reduce that, release that curfew. Now many states are imposing that their own sort of rules. And now, yes, from yesterday and today, it's completely locked down. We not just what monastery we put the rules, but also now the local governments, the local authorities, they are setting up the rules. And but now we don't know, because we have here, as I mentioned, more than 5,000 monks. Although we have got the rations like rice and dals and all those basics, stable foods, but the vegetables and all those things, we don't know where we're going to get it. So that is the situation in here. And yes, I'm well. I'm physically very well, and don't need to be worried. But being a leading, being a leader or leading the, it is not easy. It is not easy, but I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best protecting myself, and same time try to lead the community and talk to my colleagues, other abbots. So I will keep on this from time to time, and I want to say, keep safe yourself, and also follow some of those the advice given by the reliable medical people, and also whenever and wherever you can, through protecting yourself, support others as much as you can with a good heart. So that's what I want to say. Thank you.